Hi up, Rayvers. We've got some horror for you today. Some horror. Yes, this week's film was requested by Dave on the old YouTube, and Ben on the old YouTube, and Last Legs FC tweeted me about it and all. So, yeah, this week we're taking a visit to Salem's Lot. Now, it kicks off in Guatemala, in some church, where we meet a somewhat dishevelled David Soul and a young lad who presumably is his son. And they're filling up what look like aftershave bottles with what I can only presume is holy water. Not sure what they're going for there, maybe eau de Christ. But yeah, the bottles start glowing. What's that all about?
Another one has found us.
We have to go further.
Not yet.
Well, that seems sinister and mysterious right from the get-go, doesn't it? And then we get a title sequence that features a sinister and mysterious house. So, doubling up on the sinisterosity and the mysterious nociousness. Yeah. But yeah, it's spooky. It's a spooky house. And this spooky house made me think that this film were going to give me the willies. Now, if any of you ravers are from overseas and are not familiar with the term give me the willies, it ain't lewd, no. Just means it's going to put the shits up you, put the wind up you, you know, that sort of thing. Scare you, it's scary. Gives you the willies. And we rewind 2 years earlier, and David Soul pulls up in his Jeep outside said spooky house. And he's looking a lot better here than he did when we saw him at the beginning of the film. But I've got to say, it doesn't look as rugged here as he does when he's in Starsky and Hutch. Yeah, you'll remember Starsky and Hutch, won't you? Or as I used to call them, Starkers and Crutch. I used to enjoy watching Starsky and Hutch of a Saturday night once we popped the kids to bed. And he were a rugged action man in that, weren't you? But he also had a sensitive side, didn't he, David Soul? Because he had a #1 single, Top of the Hit Parade, didn't he? Don't give up on us, baby. Now, I couldn't find a clip of him on Top at Pops singing the song. We only had Legs and Co. doing a dance. Obviously, David Soul were too busy that week. Probably busy house hunting in Salem's Lot. Because he's very intrigued by this spooky house. And he observes the equally sinister James Mason exiting the building. And James Mason is playing Richard Straker. Very sinister when he wants to be, James Mason, ain't he? Although Richard Straker to me sounds like a joke name. R. Straker, R. Straker. Or Richard, could be Dick Straker. Now, I don't know what an R. Straker or a Dick Straker is, but neither of them sound very pleasant, do they? I wouldn't want my arse or my dick straight, thank you very much. No. Any road. Yeah, we see David Soul driving into Salem's Lot. Ain't got a big population. Couple of thousand. Got a feeling that population might be smaller by the end of this, but yeah. Now, he pops to the estate agents to inquire about somewhere to rent.
How about that house on the hill?
Which house?
The one as you're coming to town.
The Marston house. It's sold.
Yeah, because Fred Willard's estate agent has sold it to Straker. And he's also sold him this antique shop for him and his partner, Mr. Barlow, to use for their antiques business. Now, we ain't seen Mr. Barlow yet.
Ah, yes, well, I can assure you that people will find Mr. Barlow well worth the wait.
Now, Straker is obviously the stuffy, posh partner. And Barlow, presumably, he's the Welsh bloke, isn't he? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I used to enjoy Never the Twain, mate. But I don't know if it's because the script's really good, or whether it's just because Donald Sinden and Windsor Davies were good. But yeah, I reckon the residents of Salem's Lot would have been a lot happier if Smallbridge and Peel had rocked up, rather than Straker and Barlow. Now, David Soul, who's playing author Ben Mays, don't waste any time in chatting up a local lady. Ollie from Die Hard, minus the perm. And after ingratiating his son with her dad, who's wearing a very obvious wig, More obvious than Shatner's, to be honest. Yeah, they head off for a spot of R&R.
Where do you want to go?
Let's go to the lake.
Yeah, she's got some lewd themes in mind, she has. So off they pop to the lake for a canoodle. Now, while they're busy canoodling, there's some weird stuff cracking off around Salem's lot. These two fellas are transporting a mysterious crate for Mr. Straker. These two brothers get separated walking home, and one of them eventually turns up in a state of confusement, and the other one appears to get nabbed by a mysterious stranger. And the sleazy estate agent gets caught having it off with his secretary by her husband, who comes home with a shotgun. Nice silky underpants he's got on there, ain't there? And road, after he runs away in his silken briefs, he gets scared to death. And the canoodlers get interrupted when they hear a car roll up and discover a dead estate agent clad only in a pair of silky boxer shorts collapsed at the wheel. Now, they're touchingly naive when they're trying to explain this to the local sheriff.
I think I heard someone get out of one car. I'm only supposing that because I didn't see it. And get in the other car. Or truck. That's what I think.
That's what you think.
You've turned up at the local dogging site, mate. Bloody hell, what were you, born yesterday? Now, it transpires that the ickle lad who got nabbed on his way home, Ralphie, were nabbed by the evil Straker as an offering for the mysterious Mr. Barlow. But this next scene for me is very unnerving, because his older brother Danny appears to be having what looks like a sleepless night and wakes up to find Ralphie floating outside his bedroom window. Oh my heavens. And whilst he seems very wary at first, he then goes and opens the window. I mean, I know he's your brother, but surely the levitating outside your window is setting off some alarm bells, ain't it? And if that doesn't, surely the vampire teeth do. Oh yeah, it's very unsettling, that scene. And the music really adds to it. I can't say for certain, but I might have done a little bit of wee. Now, when Danny turns a bit poorly, they're not sure what's causing it, so they pop him in the hospital. And Ralphie turns up there and all. They don't close curtains anywhere in this town. I'd be fuming if I were in hospital and they ain't closed my curtains. Anyway, it starts to become apparent that many of the townsfolk are falling prey to vampires. But a few folk are savvy enough to avoid it, including Danny's schoolmate, Mark, who was the lad at the beginning of the film. I thought he was David's sole son, but evidently not. He ain't closed his bloody curtains either. These folk are nutters. If you leave your curtains open at night, the whole street can see what you're up to. Hey, maybe they're a town of peeping toms. There's no reason why you'd leave your curtains open at night, unless you wanted your neighbours to see what you were doing. I reckon they're a bunch of perverts in Salem's lot. They don't need a local dogging site, do they? They just leave the curtains open so all the neighbours can see exactly what they're getting up to. Bunch of exhibitionist perverts. Anyway, because this lad is horror film buff, he knows that if he whips a cross out, he'll ward off the vampire.
Go away!
Now, unfortunately, his mum and dad don't fare quite so well, because they fall victim to the master. Because, yeah, it transpires that that mysterious crate were carrying Barlow, an ancient vampire, who's since been noshing off half the townsfolk. Yeah, Barlow and his henchman Straker, they make a right horrible pair. I'm sure the residents would have much rather had Smallbridge and Peel move in instead. So, as the town starts to rapidly become taken over by vampires, it falls to David Soul to save the day. Now, I've got to say, it did have a very creepy atmosphere to it, this, I felt. As I've already mentioned, you got this very spooky house. Which, yeah, always looks very sinister. And when they get inside it, it's horrible. It's got loads of sort of dead animals, taxidermy animals, and loads of what looks like pigeon shit everywhere. Looks bloody horrible. And the bits with the floating kids, oof, yeah, it did give me the willies. But also there's loads of bits that make you jump. And obviously James Mason, very creepy as well. Although to be fair, he's the only bugger in Salem's Lot who actually uses his curtains. So maybe he's the only non-pervert living there. Food for thought, isn't it? Okeydoo, on to Ray's ratings. Well, I'll be honest with you, I don't tend to have a strong constitution when it comes to horror films and spooky stuff. Yeah, things give me the willies quite easily. So I weren't really looking forward to this. Something like a 2-star film or what I was expecting. But you know what, I did enjoy it. It built up quite nicely. There were lots of bits that made me jump, made me soar my sen. But it were good. Yeah, I thought it were good. It definitely had a sort of atmosphere about it. And but yeah, it did give me the willies. So glad I watched it of an afternoon and not on my own one night, because I wouldn't have been able to sleep. No. Yeah, rated Salem's Lot. A 3.5 star, 2-star film. Yeah, what's going on? Yeah, falling asleep in the loft. Yeah. What's going on out there? Ickle Ray? What the bloody hell are you doing out there, mate?
Raymondo, let me in, Raymondo.
Well, I don't know if I should let you in. You might be a vampire.
I'm not a bloody vampire, it's freezing out here, Raymondo. I was just round at Melanie's and her husband came back and chased me off with his shotgun.
Oh.
Come on, let me in, it's brass monkeys out here.
Oh, I had a funny dream, Rayvers, that Ickle Ray were floating outside the loft window. Not like him to get his son in a pickle like that. Didn't seem very typical of him, that, but yeah. Maybe he was just a vampire. Probably just that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my review of Salem's Lot. And if you did, poke the like button for me. Give it a good old poke. Maybe if you've got a crucifix, you could poke it with that, couldn't you? Well, that's probably sacrilegious, that, isn't it? Ignore that. Just use your finger. Yeah, and share our reviews with your mates. And subscribe if you ain't already a subscriber. Very much appreciated, everybody. As are all the wonderful comments you lot keep popping on. I really do love reading them. Apologies if I can't respond to it, because there's just so many of them these days. I try my best, but just rest assured I do love reading them, and you make me day when I see them comments. So thank you very much. Anyway, copyright box permitting, I'll be back with another review for you very soon. So I will see you next time. Okeydoo!